40 years of developing hockey players from youth to the pros, Minnesota Hockey Camps has a player development program for you. Located in Breezy Point, Minnesota, our professionally coached on-ice development sessions, off-ice speed training, weight room sessions, stick handling sessions, shooting skill sessions are the right program for you. MHC takes great pride in its tradition with developing NHL players like Chris Stewart, Ryan Bugsy Malone, Scotty Hartnell, and TJ Oshie. Our dedicated staff is ready for you. Come check us out at MinnesotaHockeyCamps.com. Sign up for your chance to become the player you've always wanted to be. Hashtag who will be next.
Cold showers, leaking pipes, furnace giving you the chills? Look no further. At Iron Range Plumbing and Heating, we've got you covered. From expert plumbing solutions to HVAC magic and all sheet metal work, we are your one-stop shop for comfort and reliability. Professional service from a team that cares. Say goodbye to household woes and hello to peace of mind. Call Iron Range Plumbing and Heating today and feel the difference.
At Grand Rapids Chevrolet GMC in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, we have the trucks. Over 47 new Silverados and Sierras sitting currently on the lot with more to come. We have all the options: LT, RST, LTZ, High Countries, ZR2s. We have heavy duties. We have Sierra, SLT, Elevations, Denali's. We are equipped for the truck you are looking for. With great rebates currently, with up to $12,500 off on select models, now would be a great time to take advantage of savings and get yourself into a new truck today. Grand Rapids GM in Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
Welcome everybody to the Tea with Miss McGill Show, presented by our friends, your friends, over at Arrow Auto Glass and Supply. Arrow Auto provides home services. So if you own a home, they will install and repair your glass windows, glass doors, and glass shower doors. So a puck goes through the front door, it's a glass one, they will come and repair it for you. Arrow Auto offers commercial glass door installation and repair. And Arrow Auto is your local source for windshield repairs and replacement with same-day services available. So you're over at Arneville at the Franklin Rink, puck comes through the window, Arrow Auto Glass in Virginia is where you go. All their work is warranted and they accept all insurance companies for your convenience. Arrow Auto Glass and Supply, downtown Virginia and downtown Hibbing. All right, it is Puka speaking. Star of the show, Coach Reed Larson, week 8. In the books here with Minnesota High School, Boys High School Hockey, episode 122. Happy 2026. How'd you bring in the new year?
Well, we had a fun little party with our group over at the clubhouse.
That's right,
so we had a little bit of fun. And well, I didn't bring the new year in over there. I actually was over there for a little bit, and then I went home and watched the ball drop with Mama.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yep.
The New York ball. I heard it was a new ball.
Yeah, it was a new ball. She had forgot to watch it when she was at home and forgot to watch the actual ball drop. But, then they get the time lapse and then we get to see it drop late again for us. So watch that. We do a little bit of watching that rockin' New Year's Eve thing with Ryan Seacrest on the new 85-inch television in the living room.
You got an 85?
Yeah, then why not? Go big or go home,
geez,
right? We got one of them. And yeah, well, we have to fill the space with that nice new
the big addition
that's in there. So anyways, I spent the evening at home like an old man hanging out with Mama, which is what we do best nowadays. We're not huge party animals.
Safe and sound.
Yeah,
safe and sound.
Stay off the roads where all the crazies
That's for sure. I was on the roads. We got in about 11, so didn't want to do anything too crazy. How about the students back in the classroom? How they doing? They ready to go?
Yeah,
fired up?
It's day 2. Obviously, we were in school yesterday and then again today here Tuesday, and it was a slow start, right? The kids are having a hard time maybe focus in a little bit, and I don't know if it's in every class. I think there's a lot of kids that are excited to be in school just because you don't know what everybody's home situation is. Some kids are excited to be back here and see their friends or friends they don't normally hang out with during break time. But there are a lot of kids that their sleep schedule got way out of whack. You can tell because they come in and the first couple class periods, kids are just, nodding off. And it's like, am I that boring? Probably not, but maybe.
I know 4 kids that were like that. Yeah, definitely.
You know 4 of them.
Some late nights.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
What was I going to ask? Oh, sickness. How about sickness? Because I hear New York broke a record, like hospitalizations for the flu and stuff. What's it like around here?
Well, influenza is
Yeah.
is really hitting hard, and I've talked with some students back and forth. Actually, one of the units that we were working on right when we came back in my health class, we're talking about communicable diseases, right? So we're talking about potential upper respiratory infections like influenza or a common cold or COVID, things like that. So we're talking about that stuff and asking questions. And some of the kids said, yeah, I got the flu shot this year. And so for those of you that got the flu shot, how many of you actually got the flu? Did any of you get the flu shot and still get sick? And all of them said, no, this year they didn't. Some years, if you got the flu shot, they'd still get sick,
Different
but
strain.
just not as sick.
Right, yep.
And right now it sounds to me, and maybe this is inaccurate information for everyone, I don't know how it's been working for elderly people or middle-aged people, but from the students I talked to, if they got the flu shot, they're not getting it.
Oh,
right?
good, okay.
But yeah, there are a lot of kids that are coming down with influenza. I'm just really hoping that the norovirus doesn't hit the school, because if it does, that stomach bug is harsh.
Yeah, and then that wipes out the teams. The basketball.
Well, it's gone through the
hockey,
entire hockey team right now. It's actually kind of making its way out of the locker room.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Guys have been sick and out and in and out, and right now I think it's kind of going through the last of the guys on the team.
Okay.
Hopefully, some of them never got it, but I think those might have been ones that spend a little bit of time away from the guys sometimes, and are a little bit more careful.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, good luck on that. All right, so we got a lot going on in the hockey world. Warroad, as we speak, visiting Roseau. We'll talk a little bit about that. The new arena in Harmontown, and I Falls with their biggest game of the season this week. But before we dive in, please follow, please subscribe. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, X, Spotify, and YouTube. We had a handful of subscribers here this week. H. Adams 30, Decent TK, MN Hockey Fan, Alex Grieger, Mike Galley, Chad Mitchell, and Curtis Adams. So thank you to all you fine folks for subscribing this past week. All right, let's get up into our games of the week, brought to you by the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, Eveleth's Best. Breakfast on the weekends, lunch, dinner, daily specials, daily happy hour, dinner specials. Of course, gift card mania is over. You get over there and use those gift cards. Monday's burger night, Taco Tuesday, Wing Wednesday, the legendary Quad Cities Fish Fry on Fridays, and then Prime Rib Saturday. Give Michelle a call, 248-8582. You can also order at the Ring Sports Bar and Grill.com. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so give Michelle, like I said, give Michelle a call, 248-8582, and tell her the Tea with Miss McGill show sent you.
Just down from the United States Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Not the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame,
proposed,
the
yep.
new one. I saw that post come up somewhere. They put a little video on, and Lou Nanny did this little clip and film and whatnot, and it was on social media talking about the Minnesota Hockey Hall of Fame, and everybody's getting all butthurt about, oh, that's supposed to be up in Eveleth. No, what's in Eveleth is the United States Hockey Hall of Fame.
Right. And the National Hockey Fame's in Toronto.
Yeah, right.
And then
So
the U.S. is here. And then,
it's okay to have three.
yeah, well, sure.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Highlight more people.
Yeah.
No problem with that.
Why
Yeah,
not?
no problem with
Right?
it at all. I 100% agree with you. All right, let's rewind to Friday. We'll start right here in Grand Rapids, where the Thunderhawks hosted the Duluth East Greyhounds, and the Thunderhawks came up with a big 7AA section win.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering it. Kind of
So much hockey.
Yeah, so much going on.
6-3 win.
Yeah,
in the big third period.
A 6-3 W. It just kind of sometimes meshes together in my brain after 4 or 5 days after the game.
Oh, yes.
Since we had Wayzata on Saturday too, so. Yeah, it was an interesting night. We needed to show up for that game, and we should say that with every game. But obviously, pressure on the Thunderhawks to be much better in their section play. The week before, they'd gone down and lost to Forest Lake. Forest Lake, in the meantime, had beaten Rock Ridge, right? So there's right now, if we were voting, Forest Lake would be at the top because they beat two teams that are considered two of the top teams in the section. However, there's some other games going on here tonight, which we're going to talk about, that are some big section games as well too. But that was a big section game for the Thunderhawks to solidify, climbing out of the gutter, right? That the first matchup over in Duluth was the first game of the season. That came out as even-steven. It came out as a tie, meaning that the second game, which is the only team in the section that we play twice, actually means the most, right? That's a wash. Come out and win this game, and you should have the higher seed regardless of what happens the rest of the year. The head-to-head comes out. Yeah, it ended up in a 6-3 victory for the Thunderhawks. It was kind of a slower start, a little back and forth. Finally got the power play going a little bit. A few power play goals were scored. Now some of the stuff is starting to come back to my head here. Andrew Ryla was lights out in that game, and I think he had 5 points in that game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Will Shimon was by far the best player on the rink, both teams. Will Shimon was playing defense during the game. Towards the end of the period, each period, coach would move him up, and he would jump up and play forward with Ryla. And he was just on it. The more he plays, front or back on the ice, creating opportunities, his speed creates so much. And then when you pop him up on a line with Andrew Ryla, you got these two little ankle biters going 100 miles an hour, and they're both so skilled. That really gave a big boost to the team when we did that, and we were kind of grinding. That was Nate Garski's first game back after an injury. He didn't play all that much. He played a little bit. He played special teams, got in here and there, but just, didn't want to kind of blow that all in one game.
Yep.
So he didn't play a whole lot.
Didn't play the third, I heard.
Yeah, he didn't play it all in the third. We kind of took him out after that. Dylan Clayton was out. He was ill that game, so he didn't play that night. He did end up coming back on Saturday. So there were some guys that really kind of started to show up later in that game. Seth Carlson became a real big contributor late in the third period when things started coming together.
Yeah.
That was a game that Drew Skrzycki started, and then we ended up making a change in the third period and bringing out Levi Westby. Just something that, coach thought there was maybe a goal or two there that he didn't like. Okay. Made the change, and then whammo, right? Okay. It helped.
Yeah, well, sometimes change the momentum too. Yeah.
Not necessarily because the goalie is doing terribly, but maybe because it might just spark something with the team, which it did, right? And it's sometimes the goalie ends up getting, being the whipping boy in that situation, but at least coach did it the way that I think most goalies would prefer. If you are going to pull me between periods, so I don't have to walk to the bench in front of 3,000 people.
Right.
So yeah, I pulled him between periods. Levi Westby went in and finished the game, and we came out with a really hot third period. Ended up winning the game 6-3.
Perfect. Okay.
So yeah, it was a great section win. It was good for our team. It was the first of the new year. So one game in the new year, 1-0.
There you go. Right? There you go. All right. So while you were coaching that game, I was over in Hibbing, catching number 2 Chisholm Hibbing, hosting number 13, the Wayzata Trojans. And so I get there, I got a nephew that plays on the JV. I get there to watch a JV. I walk in, I got to go get my cup of coffee. I peek up at they got the scoreboard in the middle. There's 3 minutes left in the second period. I get my coffee, I hear the buzzer ring, I go up. It wasn't the second period, it was the third period because it was a 9-1 Trojan victory. So of course, running time. Okay. So I'm like, I walk down to the one end and, they do the ice. There's plenty of time, right? The game ended like 6:15. Okay, varsity warms up, 6:30, whatever, maybe 6:40, whatever. So the ice is done, and you see the Wayzata parents start, they had brought a bus up also, so they start filing in, and I run to our buddy Kurt Sauer from Buccaneers, right there. So we're talking, shake hands, I said, you ever played here? He said, well, I'm from Sartell, we never came up here. But all the parents were kind of like, wow, look at this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
Their last road trip, as for the senior parents. His son Cruz is a junior, so but just it was kind of cool just to kind of see these the people kind of walk in, and because like I said, Hibbing with a single A program, the Wayzatas, the Eden Prairies, it's rare for them to be Dinas. They come here, but they don't go there. So it was kind of cool to see at the beginning of there. But anyway, another good crowd. I got to say Hibbing's power play is looking pretty crisp. They go side to side really well, usually 2 or 3 times during like a 2-minute power play. I'm sure most of it was a 4-3 overtime victory. Of course, one of those ones didn't take long, and it was 51 seconds. Cole Swanson beat 2 defensemen, put it right between the legs. But just all in all, for Chisholm Hibbing, through the years, they don't play many AA teams. When they do play AA teams, it's pretty tough to beat them. So to bring someone in like Wayzata, it's for the whole program. It was a pretty big win. It was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal when anybody beats a team like Wayzata. But then when you take a single A program that ends up coming out of that and taking the win that night, that overtime win was big. It's a statement win for them. We talked last week just about how what games are important, what games are unimportant. Some people might say, well, why is that a game? It's not a section game. It's not as important as some of these other games. It's important in that win proves they can play with anybody.
Yeah.
Right? Because Hermantown plays teams like that too.
Right.
They play them all year long. They play a lot of these AA teams the entire year. They played them all through youth hockey because they play AA youth hockey. So yeah, Wayzata is going to end up playing Hermantown at some point in time if they didn't already. That's a huge win for Hibbing, and I think that putting that little feather in your cap at the end of the day is really going to kind of boost. And proof is in the pudding in that situation.
Yeah, it was good. And there, you said big win. It was a big win in the other sense that, Ray in the last 30 seconds, there was a lone break for Wayzata, but Lanphier was able to stuff him, and like I said, 51 seconds later, the tables turned. So that's, of course, Wayzata came over here. The Timberlakes spent the night, and then the Thunderhawks face off against them at 3 o'clock on Saturday. And what do you remember about that one? Well, now you get your head back out of that game.
That's interesting because you brought up the JV game, and that's something that I get to be a part of as well. Just as being part of the varsity bench, I'm also part of the JV bench too. Jumped out of the JV, and you talked about how Hibbing's JV did against Wayzata's JV. Rapids' JV ended up losing, I think it was 4-0.
Okay.
And it wasn't a great performance, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, there were moments where like this is a legitimate AA JV program where they have to cut maybe 15 to 20 kids from their program. I mean, we didn't cut very many.
Yeah, we talked about Rogers a couple weeks ago too, remember?
Right.
It was like, how many are you cutting? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so, you don't want to walk out of a JV game going, hey, this is a quality loss. There's no such thing as a quality loss. But if you're looking for moral victories, there was some good things in that game that showed you can play at times with some of these big teams, but there's a lot of things that JV could have done in order to maybe eliminate 1 or 2 of those goals, make it a closer game, and then things might be a little bit different.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I thought I'd bring up the JV situation just because both JVs played them the day before. Your Hibbing's JV played them the day before, and actually, the 2 JVs, Hibbing and Rapids, have played too.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And I think Rapids came out as a 2-1.
I think
2-1 win
Rapids
in that
won
JV
that.
game.
Yep, I believe so. I sent that one too.
Yeah, that Wayzata game coming in on a Saturday afternoon. It's all, and this is just my opinion. I don't know how everybody thinks about this, but it's hard because you get used to coaching, you get used to playing on a Friday night or a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, and you don't get a whole lot of rest. You don't even have 24 hours before the next game. And I get it. You come out of youth hockey, you'll play 2 games in a matter of 24 hours, which don't even get me started on that. I think kids playing 2 games in one day is the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. But I'll probably get a whole bunch of hate mail for saying that because people think games are so important. I would rather in youth hockey see teams play 3 games on a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, not 5.
Right.
That's outrageous. Yeah. They're kids, right? and I don't even know where I was going with that.
The early start time.
The early start time, yeah. So you don't even get 24 hours rest, and you're coming back out there. It was a 3:00 game. There isn't a very big crowd there like there was on a Friday night or even a Tuesday night. It's just kind of blah.
Different feel. Yeah,
different feel.
Yeah, and I noticed that too. Yeah,
and
there
it's
was
hard,
a lot of energy in the building.
It's hard to get that start and jump without the excitement that you're normally feeling at Yanmar Arena. At any rate, it kind of started off a little bit slow for the Thunderhawks. Ended up down to start off with, kind of fighting back to get back in it. The power play was clicking again, scoring some goals with the power play. Just a few shots that made it in the back of the net that maybe one or two got in there that I'm sure Westby wanted back. He's probably like, well, geez, I wish I'd have had that one back. And where we really ran into problems is getting pucks out off the wall. Throwing pucks away, giving pucks to their point, instead of making a decent hard play, skating pucks out or going high off the glass when you need to, guys panicking and throwing pucks up the middle and giving their defensemen free shots on net. What's really ironic about this is that we've been asking our team all year to reduce the amount of shots that we allow in a game, and we actually outshot Wayzata. They ended up with like 22 or 24 shots on net. If you're only going to allow that many shots on net, that's pretty good against a top tier, top 10 AA team. But we want to continue to keep that defensive zone tighter and better and eliminate how many shots we're allowing on net. So we gave up too many. They got some more chances. We ended up fighting back and forth. It was close.
It was even. Yeah, it was even.
Yeah, we tied the game up late. With 10 minutes left in the game. Ended up getting tied up 3-3. They got a late power play. It was a shot and a rebound off the shot on the power play, and they went up 4-3. And it was that way for the last 6 minutes of the game, just trying to fight to get chances and shots on net. There's just little details that Coach Clafton and company were trying to, I guess, polish.
Yeah. Well, speaking of power plays, let me ask you this: that penalty in the second period that took forever. They had two on the bench. You guys had one. They had one. It was that little scuffle after. But it took 10 minutes to figure out.
Yeah.
Do you know what was going on? And then they took the number 14 out of the box. And they did a 4 and a 2. Did you have any, just to clear it up for people that were there? Because we were all sitting there like, even you heard people say, come on, let's get the game going.
Well, what's funny about it is I don't really understand how all of that works. Because I don't get it with the referees when you're trying to call a coincidental penalty. It's like, we're calling coincidentals on these two guys, but we're going to give this guy a 2-minute penalty. Well, in my mind, if you're calling a coincidental penalty and an extra on the other team, why wouldn't you just put 2 minutes on the clock and play 5-on-4? They wanted to start it 4-on-4 and then have somebody come out.
Oh, is that what the discussion was?
I don't get
That's
it.
what I thought was going to happen, and then they took the guy out before they ever dropped the puck.
Yeah,
okay.
I just didn't understand all of that. I just, some of that stuff I didn't have to know because I'm not the head coach. I was more concerned about watching some of the film about what got us in the situation in the first place. I'm sitting here looking at my little iPad and talking to Coach Wagner next to me while Coach Clafton's down trying to figure out what's going on with. At any rate, the referees apparently had it the right way.
Okay.
I don't really know. I just kind of blocked it out of my mind. But in my mind, and if you're a referee, maybe you know the answer to this. I'd have to probably draw up the scenario for you as to what happened if it was done the right way. But there was a play down in front of our net where there was an original penalty called. The original penalty was called on the Wayzata player, right? And then there was another penalty called on the Wayzata player, but then the Rapids player came in and engaged on that. So they were giving the Wayzata player 4 minutes and giving the Rapids player 2 minutes. Well, in my mind, all it is okay, well, if you got coincidentals on one of those penalties, maybe someone serves the other 2 minutes and you just, those two sit there coincidental and someone else serves the 2 minutes, jumps out, and it's a 5-on-4 power play for Rapids. But for whatever reason, they got it right. I don't know, because I didn't pay attention.
It was just like I said, there was there was no explanation, and even but the play got going, and to hear even what the announcer said. So anyway, I just thought for those that were at the game, just kind of cleared up if you knew.
It was just kind of a debacle, to be honest with you. And it's like
it was a long delay.
I didn't question any of it because I didn't really know the rule on it and how that works.
Yeah. Okay. All right, hammer the thumbs up button right now. Let's get into our previews for this coming week here. Aspire Heating and Control is sponsoring our preview section this week. They are your local Bryant dealer, and Bryant is the official heating and cooling company of your Minnesota Wild. Aspire specializes in gas, electric, and hydronic heating and cooling systems for existing and new construction, residential and commercial installations available. Services include forced air systems, boilers, heat pumps, mini splits. They are, of course, licensed and bonded. Justin is your guy. Give Justin a call, 218-999-5957. Aspire Heating and Control, 999-5957.
I got another one for you on this too, and here's just another one. Maybe I'm going to ask you this question and see if you're thinking the same thing. This is another kind of like a reffing situation decision and what to do. This actually happened, I think it might have been last night in one of the World Junior Games, okay? I don't remember which team was shorthanded, which team was on the, I think it was Sweden that was shorthanded, and Czechia was on the power play. Well, Sweden's coming down on a rush. They're shorthanded on a rush against the power play team, and their guy gets hooked. Now there's a delayed call, right? So there's a delayed call on a shorthanded team. They're coming down. They get their goalie off the ice. It's a 5-on-5 basically with their goalie out of the net, and they score with the delayed call. In my mind, that was a shorthanded goal because you pulled your goalie. If you'd have pulled your goalie, in a normal situation, it'd have been 6-on-5, right? So they still ended up calling the penalty. Or no, they didn't call the penalty. The penalty, because they scored, went away. So they scored shorthanded. There was a delayed penalty called, but then they go to the center ice faceoff, and it's still 5-on-4 power play for Czechia.
Right.
To me, it's like, wait a second. They scored shorthanded, and you had a delayed call. Well, it should be evened up. They should have to have a penalty.
Yeah, well, and some of that stuff's at international rules. Because
Yeah,
I heard lots of social media complaints about the shootouts not going 5-on-5 overtimes, and people said, why don't they do it? I don't know the international rules enough to know, what I did. I have heard some complaining, and it's like, well, the rules are, it's not NHL rules.
It's International Ice Hockey Federation rules.
So I was surprised they were having shootouts at all, to be honest.
Well, here's the thing is and if you guys, if there are people, listeners out there, they're like, how does this guy know anything about hockey? He doesn't know. I'm not a referee.
Yeah,
I'm a coach, and you need to know the rules to coach, but a lot of times there's some of these small rules that just kind of go in one ear and out the other, and you don't remember some of these. To me, that just seemed odd.
Yeah.
That would have happened. So if you're a referee and explain this to me like I'm a fifth grader.
Yeah.
Because don't yell at me and say good or stupid, but teach me. Somebody teach me.
We appreciate your comments.
All right, fellas. You just can't get the hockey itch out of yourself. The college route isn't for you. Community college route isn't for you. The junior hockey route isn't for you. Well, there's still hockey that you can play. Why don't you check out the Jackson Hole Moose out in Jackson, Wyoming? Take a look at these guys. Full crowds, full hockey, packed houses every night. Get a hold of TJ Thomas on Facebook, and he can get you hooked up with what's going on out there in Jackson Hole.
Integral Hockey Twin Ports offers top-of-the-line junior, intermediate, and senior sticks for sale. Integral also repairs shafts, blades, and goalie sticks using their patented process that restores your stick's original performance. Same flex, same kick point. Shaft and blade repairs come with a lifetime warranty at the repair spot, so you can trust your stick to perform game after game. Give Sand a call, 218-940-9089.
Would you like to hear about Zorba's specials? On Mondays, it's Micro Monday. All taps are just $4. Tuesdays, $3 tacos and $4 Dos Equis. Wednesdays, personal pizzas, $8 and domestic taps, $4. Thursdays, we have deals on nachos and $5 Surly taps. We offer trivia on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., bingo on Thursday at 6 p.m., and then karaoke Thursdays at 10 p.m.
The criticisms are nice as long as they're constructive.
Yeah, that too. All right, Rapids hosting a pair of games again this weekend.
Yeah, we've got a pair of games this weekend, and two that, again, can be statement games at the state level for us to prove that, we're in a new year. So like I said, after the new year, there was one win and then there was a loss. So in the new year, Rapids is 1-1. If they can come out of this weekend with a sweep or a split like they did last year, things are doing okay. Okay. With the two teams that we're looking at, there's no reason why Grand Rapids can't look at walking out of here 2-0 after the weekend with a sweep. White Bear Lake comes on Friday night. Andover comes in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. Two teams that are very beatable. White Bear Lake has a really, really tough schedule similar to ours. So they're really only looking at like 3 or 4 wins as well. We've got 4 wins. They've got 3 or 4 wins and like 6 losses or 7 losses right now. So they've been kind of up and down. They're a very beatable team, but they're a very elite team too. There's going to be another one of those road kids.
I saw there's a road kid on the team, yeah.
So there was a road kid on the team. His older brother was on the team a couple years ago when we played him in 2024.
And he's at Cloud now.
That kid was unreal. From what I've heard, the younger brother is as good or better, from what I've heard. So he definitely has to be watched when we start thinking about, hey, big games, right?
And then
Andover on Saturday, Andover's kind of been up and down this year, but it is with a win on Saturday, again, is a statement. We've played Andover every year for the last 7 to 8 years because they've been in Section 7AA. They're now not in Section 7AA, they're in Section 5AA with Blaine and Maple Grove and Rogers. That's a tough section, by the way.
Did they move Anoka in there too? Or is Anoka
I don't know. I can't remember. Okay. But yeah, that's a good game for us. There's a friendship from coaching staff to coaching staff. All of us have worked with Mark Manny before at different levels, whether it's the HP level or even beyond, and some of the other high school coaching things that we do together. So we all know Mark Manny very well. He's got Jordan Leopold on his staff. It's always a fun game to play, but it's been kind of a rivalry game for the last 5 years just because it's always been the team we've had to beat in order to go to the state tournament. Right. So there's some bad blood. And there's a sour on that team as well, too, KJ.
Yeah, that's right.
So talking about Sartell people and the Sauer family, KJ's on that team. And I know he's kind of been in and out this year. I'm not sure if there's been some injuries with him, but that's a team that bumped Rapids out of the playoffs last year in the semifinals. They went on to beat Rock Ridge in the section finals. They represented Section 7AA down at the state tournament. Right. There's some revenge to be had, so to speak, for the Thunderhawks, and it's again a statement win if it can happen. And it's also a common opponent with a lot of the teams in the section. Rock Ridge plays them. Duluth East plays them, Forest Lake plays them. So it's a common opponent. We get a lot of film on those guys. We see a lot of their games. There's a lot to learn from playing that game. And actually, over the course of the last probably 5 years, alternating when we play them, when we play there or they play here, we've had a pretty good record against them at home in the last 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So last year we lost to them because we went down there, but the year before that we beat them at home 1-0.
Okay.
Then the year before that in 2023 we lost down there, but the year before that, 2022 at home, we beat them at home. Miles Gunderson stopped a penalty shot in order to solify the win.
Yeah.
So it's
and Drotzy missed one, didn't he?
Yeah, there was one as well. So very interesting, but at the same time, it's one of those teams that this could be a really, really big weekend for the Thunderhawks.
Okay. All right, well, let's stay on this theme of common opponents. We got, as we speak, Rock Ridge hosting Marshall in a Section 7AA contest, and then they will play Duluth East on Thursday. Rock Ridge will play Duluth East. So like I said, everybody's starting to get into these section matchups, and as of right now, this 7AA, it's anybody's.
It's
you
mashed potatoes right now, to be honest with you. And if I had to say not mashed potatoes, there's one team right now that it's actually won 2 really big games in the section, and that's Forest Lake.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Otherwise, you got teams that are going to be battling it out to get their respective spots. Right now, Rapids takes the movement above Duluth East because of a tie and a win. Tonight, we're going to see. I mean, there's people been talking about Duluth Marshall for a long time. Yep. They've been talking about them. They've only lost 1 game this year thus far.
Number 17 in the Let's Play Hockey rankings.
They're ranked number 17. The only game they've lost this year was to Superior High School.
Yep.
So they're matching up tonight. You'll talk about that. It's going to be Rock Ridge and Duluth Marshall. They're playing tonight. Sounds like Duluth East is in the mix here the next couple days. Go ahead.
On Thursday. And I was just going to say, you're talking about Forest Lake a little bit. Now they entered the rankings. I don't know if they've ever been in the ranks, but they're came in at number 20. So like I said, just this tossed salad or mashed potatoes, however you want to call it, it's still wide open for that 7AA. And we're January, first weekend of January, and it's still wide open. So it's going to make for an interesting stretch as we continue on into February here. All right, what else we got here? I'm sorry, I lost my spot. And then on Friday, the 8-2 International Falls Broncos will head south to face the 11-1-1 Chisholm Blue Jackets. Falls coming off a tie with Proctor on Saturday. Anthony Yerksha, 47 points. Will Yerksha, 45 points. They put, like I said, 8-2, but of course there's always the naysayers out the way. I haven't played anyone. Well, they're going to play somebody on Friday, so I guess we'll get to see kind of where, both Falls players, Falls fans, Falls coaches kind of see where they're at. Say, hey, we're gonna hit a high level single A team. We can see where we're, kind of where we're at.
Yeah, they're gonna play number 2 in the state. Yeah. They might as well see what they can do. And I don't want you to forget about Coach Baldwin's kid that plays on the line with those 2 kids. He only has 20 some points at this point in time, but coming from the guy that was always that guy on the line, there's always 2 guys that scored a whole bunch of points. And then there was another guy that was underappreciated that's likely a power forward or a grinder.
Muck it up. Is it Brody? I think it might be Brody.
Brody Baldwin?
Brody Baldwin? I think it is, yeah. So
I think it's Coach's kid or nephew.
I'm sure it is,
whatever.
Yeah. And then a big one tonight, like I said, as we speak, we touched on this earlier, Warroad visiting Roseau. And I was going to ask your opinion on this one, Coach. Is this still the rivalry game it used to be? It seems like it's tilted a little bit. I'm sure there were years it was tilted
Where
Roseau.
Where is it going to be tonight? Is
Roseau,
it in Roseau?
Warroad visiting Roseau, yes.
Then it's going to be a rivalry game. If it's at the Warroad Gardens, I see that not necessarily being as close of a game. But if it's in Roseau, Roseau is going to bring some sort of passion. They're going to anyways. This is one of those age-old rivalries that I don't care how good or how bad one of the 2 teams is. There's so much emotion that goes into that game because it goes back to forever ago.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So, it's still a rivalry game. And it's one of the few that still exists out there. You got rivalry games, Warroad and Roseau. You had rivalry games of Virginia and Hibbing. Yeah. That doesn't exist anymore. Right. You had rivalry games of Grand Rapids and Greenway. That doesn't exist anymore.
Well, and you still got the Falls, Fort Francis, where they played a couple weeks ago, so that's the border battle.
You used to have rivalry games of Virginia and Evelyn. Well, now they're the same team.
And I love that finally, like 5 years ago, they got that new AD in Duluth, and then they said, no. Randolph, you're playing Duluth-Denfield. We're one school district here. And talk about competence, all this, but I'll tell you what that athletic director did. He lined the pockets of the high school because those games have been packed.
Well, absolutely.
And it was a great idea.
It's dumb if you don't play.
Right. It's one game. I mean, you play your crosstown.
You got 25 games. Right. You might as well give the fans what they want. They want an East versus West. Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Regardless of if people think, well, is Roseau going to be able to compete with Warroad? They're gonna try, and they're gonna bust their butt doing it because there's so much passion behind that game. There's so much pride between the green and white versus the black and gold.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. All right, let's move on to our scores and more. Brought to you by Fortune Bay Resort and Casino, a beautiful Lake Vermilion. Fortune Bay offers 172 rooms and a smoke-free resort, indoor pool, full-service marina, RV park, world-class golf, several dining options, a bar, and all the gaming you can handle. Visit fortunebay.com right now for more details. I've heard the fish are biting, so get up there, plan your trip right now, fortunebay.com. You can do so while you're listening. It's so easy and convenient right there. Some scores to go over here. Ely with a big win, 11-3 over Lake of the Woods. Number 4, Warroad with a 7-2 win over Notre Dame Connecticut High School. I did some research. I know they've played them before. I'm wondering if that Notre Dame Connecticut coach, they meet every year in Grand Forks at the holiday tournament for Grand Forks Central. So I wonder if that guy is a East Grand Forks or Grand Forks guy, the coach. Because I remember seeing in the past, they'd say Notre Dame, like next Notre Dame, and North Dakota team. Are they a Canadian team? But they're actually a high school team out of Connecticut. You talk about a road trip in high school. Denfeld dropped by East Ridge 5-1. Brainerd beat by Elk River 6-1. Number 9, Cloquet 1-0 loss to Monticello. Roseau 1-1 tie to St. Cloud. Duluth East, 6-6 draw with Mounds View. The Greenway Raiders with another win over Moose Lake Willow River, 3-rip. Bemidji down by STMA 6-2. North Shore with a 4-2 loss to Wadena. We talked about a little bit about number 17 Duluth Marshall. They had a 3-0 win over Little Falls. The Wilderness of Eveleth with an 8-4 loss to the Mason City Toros, and the Walleye Scott Edina Hornets update, 4-2 win over Cretin at the Tradition Holiday Classic. So they are rolling. All right, World Juniors. Anything else you want to, I know we talked about the reffing and some, the one thing I've heard, like some of these medal round stuff, the attendance being pretty low. What do you got on the World Juniors? Just thoughts and notes.
The one thing I did hear, just watching a lot of it, the IIHF, the International Ice Hockey Federation, and all of the teams that participated really gave huge props to Minneapolis and St. Paul for hosting.
Good. Okay.
Talked about, I heard the opposite, that the attendance there at these games was way better than it was in some of the other countries, especially when the United States was playing. Obviously, when the U.S. was playing, there were huge crowds there. There was a pretty big crowd at that game last night, and there was 2 different countries that were there. I mean, the United States wasn't even there. Maybe the third place, the bronze medal game, maybe didn't have as many people at it. You had Canada playing against Finland in the bronze game.
I think that is the one. I said third place game, 3,000 fans or something. And so like I said, it's just stuff I'm seeing.
But how about going to the gold medal game and there being 20,000 people at it? I mean, it was pretty cool watching. I got to watch a lot of the games. I watched most of them. And I watched, the pool play and watched kind of people start to get seeded into the bracket play towards the end and watched the ups and downs of the U.S. team. There were some struggles there, and I think one of the big struggles they talked about, and this isn't me saying it, this is the professionals, the analysts that are calling this, is that there was a lot going on with the U.S. team. A lot of where some of the problems were is maybe their goaltending wasn't as good as some of the other countries.
Oh, okay.
And they had pretty darn good goaltending. They did. So now you're looking at some of these goalies that are coming in drafted in the NHL that are 6'8" or 6'6", coming from Sweden and Finland.
Wow.
There's a reason why they're playing in the NHL.
6'8"?
And they're
it's like the Shakopee goalie.
They're unbelievable when you watch these guys. So the U.S. ended up getting their into the bracket play, ended up having to play Finland in the quarterfinal game. That's where they ended up getting seeded. They got bumped out by Finland. Ended up Finland playing Sweden in the semifinal, right? On the other side, it was Czechia that ended up in the semifinal playing Canada. Czechia played a really physical hockey game against Canada when they were in the semifinal game. I heard other analysts talk about the team that got put together for the Canadian World Junior team, and they talked about how they picked these really skilled hockey players, the Gavin McKennas, the Aginlas, all of these kids that were really skilled. Czechia came out and was way heavier than they were. way heavier, knocking them all over the place. They didn't have as much jam. The one thing I remember about watching Canada teams that either played in the Olympics or played World Juniors is they were always the toughest teams to play against. You come out with bruises and teeth missing and concussions because they hit and they're tough. Czechia knocked them around the rink, and that's why they ended up losing. So Czechia makes it to the championship game. Sweden and Finland in the semifinal was an awesome game to watch. Awesome.
Huge rivalry there too. It's got to be.
Back and forth. Both teams phenomenal goaltending. Both teams a ridiculous amount of jam. Like, you don't think there's a lot of jam when you think about, okay, Finland and Sweden, they play this finesse, swift, smooth game. They do, but they added grit to their game. Both teams did. And Sweden just ended up at the top of that one. It was, it went to overtime. This is where you talk about some of the rules that, people wondered about. Well, why wouldn't you play a 5-on-5 overtime first? The overtime went to a 3-on-3.
Yeah, right. I heard that.
There was no scoring after that 3-on-3. There was definitely chances. Some huge saves by both goaltenders on both sides. Those goalies for Finland and Sweden were unreal. They were unbelievable to watch. Then it went to a 5-person shootout. It was, they flipped a coin to see who would shoot second. The 5-person shootout, so both teams were going to get 5 shooters no matter what, unless it turned out that somebody scored 3 and the other ones got blanked, right? So it went through the first 5 shooters. Finland scored and Sweden scored, and then it stopped. That was evened up after that, and once it goes to the next round, then it's just each team gets a shooter. If one scores and the other one doesn't, game over, right? If both miss, next one. Or if both score, go to the next set of shooters. It only went to, after the round of 5, it only went to 1 shooter each side. Finland went first, bump, done. Sweden went second, buried it, game over.
Okay.
So they ended up going to the championship game. And unfortunately, last night, watching that championship game, it was on at like 7:30 last night. I was awake for the first period watching Sweden just pump Czechia. It was 2-0 when I fell asleep, and it sounded like the game went in Sweden's favor with them winning the World Junior Championship the first time in quite a while. I saw, maybe it was back to like I don't know. I don't even want to say it because I might be wrong.
Canada and the U.S. have kind of dominated.
Yeah, it was Canada, U.S. Finland was in there a couple of times or once. I think this is the first time since like 2011 or something like that, since Sweden had won.
Well, throw in the comments if you know.
Yeah, if you know, and I apologize because I didn't check. I saw it on Facebook earlier today, but it was U.S. the last 2, Canada, U.S., Finland, and then there was way back, quite a few years back, Sweden had won. So this is their first World Championship in quite a while.
Oh, okay. Congrats to the Swedes. All right, down in Harmontown, North Star Ford Arena is now open. They had a 4-day grand opening ceremony last week, including I saw a GRG Lightning team of some sort was down there. Capped off with a 5-3 Hermantown Hawks victory over Eden Prairie on Saturday. So you guys are you down there this year?
Nope,
they're here? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
we don't get to play there. It's kind of interesting. Whenever teams build new arenas, it seems like when they first open, they were coming to our building. That happened last year too. Once we got Virginia on the schedule or got Rock Ridge on the schedule and they had their new rink open and they're on the schedule, they were coming here the first year and we'll go there. Same thing this year. They're open with their new one, but they're coming here this year. We'll go there next year.
Okay. Well, Chisholm Hibbing's there in a week, so they'll be able to check that place out. And then a big birthday today. The Tea with Miss McGill show started on this day back in 2021. Remember, podcast only over an iPhone?
Holy crap.
Remember that? No video.
I do remember.
No nothing. And that was the year where high school hockey started in January, because that was
121 episodes ago.
121 episodes ago.
You want to know what I watched this weekend? young blood.
Did you?
I did.
Well, their
And then-
birthday's coming up too. We'll keep that a secret, but that is coming up. But yeah, podcast only. So just thank you for all your support over the last 5 years, completed 5. Obviously, we're entering year 6 here, but podcast only. And we're just waiting to get that. But that was like going to start in a pause 2 weeks. Remember, that's what the kids were even doing with that like hybrid schedule. You might go to school a week, you take a week off, and all that stuff. So that 2021 high school championship wasn't done until Easter weekend. It was done in April because they didn't start the season until January. I can't remember if you guys had an abridged schedule, if it was shorter. Or were you doing the Bantams that year anyway? Or no?
Yeah, I was doing the Bantams.
Bantams. I can't remember if they did play the full thing.
Well, it was a break. There was a break. I started the Bantams, the head Bantam coach that year. I started the Bantam season in October. We ended up having to shut the season off November 7th. And we didn't come back until literally, I think it was this day, the first day of our podcast was when we were able to actually start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because everything just kind of
the 6th of January.
Right, kind of. And then remember the state tournament. Hermantown's entire varsity had COVID, right? And then wasn't it Zam Plant and his sophomore buddies, the JV played Brody Lamb's team? Is it Brody Lamb, the one that's at the Gophers?
Oh, yeah. Dodge County.
There you go, or something like that. And played them, great. And it didn't Hill Murray or one of the city's teams couldn't play in a bunch.
Hill Murray.
It was at Hill, and then they're all going to file a lawsuit against the high school league. And oh gosh, those were crazy times. But it's crazy to think back that
I can't even believe
literally at the end of this month will be 6 years from the start of COVID. Really, I first started hearing about it on the stock market channel late January of 2020, and my parents were already in Vegas. And had thought they already, looking back, they think they had got to Vegas right after Christmas here and got COVID right away before everyone knew what COVID was because they were sicker than dogs for like a week and then came out of it and then you started hearing this thing about this.
Well, I started hearing about it kind of right around that time frame too. But so in 2020, January of 2020, that was the year I was coaching the girls hockey team. I was with them. So it would have been the fall of 2020 and the season of 2021 that I was coaching Bantams. I was the assistant coach with the girls team, the GRG team, and we were playing in Hockey Day in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. And we had a girl that was just ridiculously sick. Like the worst flu that anybody could even talk about. She couldn't even make the trip, didn't come with, stayed home, and then ended up coming down with her parents for the game just so she could sit on the bench.
Oh, to be part of it.
To be part of it, and then got her out of there.
Okay.
I was pretty sure a couple of months later when they started talking about COVID, mid-February, end of mid-March, when we're starting to split for the school year, thinking, I think she probably had it.
Like I said, that's what my parents think they had way before there was really any headlines. And like I said, I just remember hearing about it in January, but then it started building momentum every week in February, and then the rest is history. But anyway, happy birthday to Tea with Miss McGill. We hope you all are at our semifinal Saturday party on February 21st. We're going to talk about that more as we get into February, but come down and celebrate our birthday with us. All right, Coach, anything to add to episode 122?
Well, the only thing I'm going to add is the conversation about the new rink in Hermantown. For those that have anything to do with anything in Hermantown, could you just do me one favor with this rink? Hang only the banners that matter, please. Because when you look at the old rink, when you walk in there, they've got youth hockey banners wrapped around the building. They've got conference championship, sections championship, state tournament championship, and every single one that stretches all the way across, and they're wrapped around the exterior. Listen, when you walk into Yanmar Arena, or if you walk into the Memorial Building Arena, this is where the high school plays their games, they hang the banners that matter. State tournament banners and state championship banners. You don't need all the youth hockey ones. You'll see those at Edina, but you see them in the extra rink at Edina. The youth hockey rink on the side. You don't see those in the high school hockey rink over at Braemar Arena. You only see state championships and section championships. That's it. You don't need all of the other one. In fact, it shouldn't say section championship. It should say state participant, right?
Yeah.
And then like like I said, if you walk into Yanmar, you'll see all the black ones on the sides and you see the orange ones in the middle. The black ones are state participants. They'll say third place, second place, fourth place. And the ones in the middle,
The big ones.
the four in the middle are the championship, the orange ones.
There you go. It's a good tip. I kind of
Just
agree.
do that. Do me a favor, because I'm sick of looking at all of those when I walk over.
Yeah, I can see when I'm streaming. It's pretty busy. I understand what you're
It's
saying.
too busy.
Yeah. All right. We love hearing from you. Please comment. Leave a review if you have time. Of course, we're everywhere. X, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. We're not going to really worry about merch now because everyone's all spent. We already had Christmas, so you're not going to need any gifts for a while, but we'll get back to that. We need to find something for your sweet honey real soon for Valentine's Day. So just a thank you to the greatest partners on earth here, by Wabick Family and Virginia Family Dental, Aspire Heating and Control, The Ring Sports Bar and Grill, Arrow Auto Glass and Door, Fortune Bay Resort and Casino, Zorba's of Grand Rapids, Iron Range Goalie Academy, Grand Rapids Chevrolet GMC, Minnesota Hockey Camps, Jackson Hole Moose Hockey Club, Iron Range Plumbing and Heating, and Integral Hockey Twin Ports. For Ray Larson, I am Puka. Get out there, be your dream. You're tuned to the Goat Sports Media Audio Network, cleaned by Virginia Family Dental.